you crazy, homie, you crazy, homie, you crazy, homie, you crazy, homie, you crazy,
Bougiewild, 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 Bougiewild. I said the universe gave it to me. I said the universe gave it to me. Bougiewild, 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 Bougiewild. I said the universe gave it to me. I said the universe gave it to me. Bougiewild can't be boxed. I'm free to be me. I'm living life, creating legacy. I'm living my dream. They call me extra. They say I'm doing too much. I'm just bougie wild. Cause I'm classy with some style. Bougie wild, 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 bougie wild. I said the universe gave it to me. I said the universe gave it to me. Bougie wild, 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 bougie wild. I said the universe gave it to me. I said the universe gave it to me. I'm rocking my own label. I'm wearing my own brand. See, y'all don't understand is this shit was never planned. Some call me bougie, some call me wild. The funny thing is, it's just my personality and style. I said the universe gave it to me. I said the universe gave it to me. Bougie wild, 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 bougie wild. I said the universe gave it to me. I said the universe gave it to me. Bougie wild is balanced. I don't play. I say what I mean what I say. I'm done slay. Bougie wild is balanced. That I am. I live, love, laughing. I don't give a damn. Bougie wild, 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 bougie wild. I said the universe gave it to me. I said the universe gave it to me. Bougie wild is loving yourself, it's knowing yourself, it's trusting yourself, it's being yourself. Yeah. Hey. Bougie wild is loving yourself, it's being yourself, it's being yourself, it's expressing yourself. Yeah. Be original. Do you, it works. The funny thing is, hurt. I said the universe gave it to me. I said the universe gave it.
Hello, you guys, and welcome to another episode of Transparent Table Talk. Transparent Table Talk is brought by Bougiewild, and as you all are aware, Bougiewild is a can't be box, free to be me energy. So Bougiewild created Transparent Table Talk as a platform where people are willing to speak about their life from a humble, transparent, and a vulnerable place. The purpose of the show is to bring awareness to topics society does not discuss that have people suffering in silence due to shame or blame. The vision is to create a place for people to have conversations without fear of judgment. The purpose is to have conversations that I wish someone would have had with me. The goal is to inspire and empower to make people see that life is about a choice. And the mission is to heal this hurt world by showing people that we all go through things and that we have a choice to be reborn and walk and live in the spirit. You guys, I just want to say, with Transparent Table Talk, I just want to say it is so important for us to be able to speak about life from a humble, transparent, and vulnerable place. This show was created as a platform to show people that we don't have to live in our social norm or what was conditioned in us or that we have those attachments to, because sometimes those things make us suffer. And as a society, we don't speak about it enough to let people know it's okay to be who you are and be true to the I am that's in you, the Holy Spirit that's in you, through you, as you. I just felt like the Spirit wanted me to say that tonight. So, but let's go into introducing tonight's guest. Mina Fatima is an NLP Master Trauma Relief Coach, which help with low self-confidence, low self-esteem, and feeling emotionally safe. You can check her out at www.healwithhina.com. Let's welcome Hina to Transparent Table Talk. Hi, how are you today?
I am well. So my name is Hina Fatima.
Nice to meet you, Hina. Fatima?
Yes,
Did
nice
I
to
say
meet
that right? Thank you. Thank you so much for being a guest on Transparent Table Talk. Our guest chooses the topic of the episode. I don't see anything. This is like this true, authentic, just being me. I'm a being me type person, and that's what I bring to the world. I'm just a being me type person. And tonight, I see your title is Forgiveness. What brought you to Transparent Table Talk?
So I am actually a trauma coach,
Okay.
and I work with a lot of people who either are suffering from a trauma and or have suffered in the past, or even the generational trauma that gets passed on from their parents or from the elders in their household. So
Mm-hmm.
I get to work with these people, and then what I've noticed is these people, I mean, most of us, when we have experienced any kind of trauma, we try to find blame of the way we are in other people, right? So we will try to find it in the people we live with, or we will try to find the fault in our past, our parents, our siblings, our teachers, and what that does is it creates a lot of resentment in us, right? So trauma survivors have fear, guilt, and resentment. These are the three very important characteristics of trauma survivors, and these three together, it kind of creates this self-doubt in yourself. It holds you back, that feeling of stuckness, right? And forgiveness, the reason I chose this topic is because it's very complicated and it's very hard to forgive. Okay. uh, I remember, there was a time, like, not very, much in the past, just to say a few years ago, where I used to question, I want to forgive. I want to forgive certain people. How do I do it? Like, when you experience pain, and you experience this pain has been caused by other people, and sometimes it's just the circumstances. Sometimes even the other people don't know that they're causing pain, right? As I talked about the generational trauma that's going down, right? Or as I talked about when you're bullied or when you're harassed, right? And so sometimes these are very unintentional. These are just circumstantial traumas that are happening. And when we experience that trauma, uh, so for me, when I used to question this, the reason I used to question this, because I used to see uh, my family, my family members, my mother, sometimes as a younger person, like when we before I got married and moved to US, she would sometimes complain that she was so hurt that she wouldn't forgive certain people in her life. Okay. and and that's what she would do when she would be angry or upset or maybe depressed or anxious, right? Or whenever she went back and she was reliving those moments when she got hurt, when she had her traumas. And so we as children witnessed her sometimes say, express that she was in some way a victim, which she was, but we shouldn't say it like a victim. It's basically that she experienced this negative experience that happened with her, and it happens with everybody, right? We're social animals, right? We're social animals with intellect. So we are living among people who will say and do things that we don't like. It's natural. We're humans, right? And it's okay to make mistakes. So when she experienced those and she would complain, say 10 years, 15 years later on, that this person hurt me, or this is what this person said, or this is what this person did in a certain time period, and I can't forgive. I grew up listening to that a lot. And I realized, when I moved here a couple of years ago, that I was repeating that pattern, and then there comes the intergenerational trauma that I'm talking about, okay? And because whatever she was going through, I mean, I didn't go through what she went through. And I respect that. And I acknowledge that. And I honor that. And like right now, being a mother myself, I can truly understand and honor what she went through. She had 3 miscarriages before me. And there were other things that were happening in her life. I mean, people have their own struggles. And and so for me as a child, all I saw was a mom or a dad who were struggling, right? And now that when I am that person and I am in her shoes, I am that many years old, I have children that are as old as I was, right? And I'm struggling. I have my past traumas, right? Or I have certain things happening in my life. And then I would say, I will not forgive this person. This person hurt me. This person harmed me, right? And then what did it do? It did nothing. It just gives resentment. You're hurting yourself. That those people are gone. Those people who hurt you are long gone. They don't even know what they did. They don't even remember it. Maybe they do. Maybe it haunts them too. Maybe it's their trauma too. When you bully other people, when you're mean to other people realize it, right? And sometimes it does happen. I do remember certain things I may have done, and I don't know those girls anymore, my friends, and I miss them. And I wish I could see them and meet them and I could apologize to them that, hey, I'm sorry, when I was in, say, 3rd grade or 5th grade or 8th grade, this is what I did. And, I was a kid. I didn't mean to. So, we grow. As humans, we grow. So when I realized I was repeating that pattern, I was like, I want to put a full stop to it, because if I do this right now, my daughter is going to grow up doing the same thing, because she has no idea what my traumas are or were, or her grandmother's traumas were, right? She's living with me. All she sees is a mom and a dad, right? And she just wants us. So for me to complain about circumstances or people and say, I can't forgive these people, or I can't, forgive these circumstances, it's because of them that I'm struggling. If I can't regulate it, and if I can't let go of it, if I can't forgive it, that's what my daughter will learn to. And then the cycle will repeat next 40 years, right?
So,
And
so
I didn't want.
what was your aha moment? What made you recognize what happened in which that moment and you had that revelation? Oh my God, I'm repeating a cycle. When did that happen, or what happened in your life to help you grow to that point in seeing that?
Yeah. So I was struggling in my married life here. And I'm sure a lot of us do. It's very natural, it's normal, everybody has issues, people sometimes they're
Right.
not
We're not
compatible,
perfect.
they
We're
don't
not
get
perfect.
along.
We're not perfect.
And what happened to me was like, it was literally my last I had a breakdown, to be honest, okay?
Mhm,
And
mhm. The
when I went to
transparent
this,
paper talk. This what it is. That's, I mean, we have to talk about life because we have to stop letting shame and blame
yeah,
cause us to, that's the energy that we be harboring, like you said in the beginning, that we go deflecting on other people because we be dealing with our own hurts and our own frustrations and chaos and discord in our own spirit. And so we go out and project it on other people. So I get it. I'm listening. So I'm just asking,
yeah,
because that's the whole purpose of the show, is to share our life experiences with people so that people can understand you are not alone. That's what this platform is, helping people that was going through it before we even realized it, when we were on airplane mode in a sense. And that's why I said the conditioning of the mind, and we just start learning behavior patterns and doing things that we think it's norm, and even dealing with the emotion of it, even dealing with the frustration, the anxiety, and all the other things that comes with it, because we are conditioned or attached, or you know what I mean, just
yes,
from that
that's all
standpoint.
we know. That's what all we've seen. We don't know
Yeah.
anything else. We don't know any
Mhm.
better.
Right,
Right.
right. So what was
So
that aha moment? Like you were saying,
yeah,
you were
it
saying,
was just like
break that
my,
down.
I just had an emotional breakdown, and it was
Mhm.
literally like the last straw. And it was like either mend it or end it situation. So
Mhm.
that's where I was like, okay, I have two little girls, and this is not how I want to live, right? And I don't want to live in resentment. I don't want to live with anger. I don't want to live with blaming other people. I mean, fine,
Right,
yes,
right.
people
Those
did.
are low energies. It's low energy. It's a horrible feeling to walk around with.
Yes, and
When
like
you
for me,
realize you dealt with it, when you realize, like, oh my God, I was mad, and just the feeling that's in your body, it just feel like, like it's low.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
low.
So yes, so it's just that that. So I was like, literally, because for me, I used to think in my mind that, Mom, you're upset at people who are no longer here. I don't know them.
Right,
I haven't seen them, right? Or they're, say, relatives, but they're around you. They're your brothers, sisters. They're your friends.
right.
Why are you repeating stuff that happened 20 years ago? And my daughter will do the same. She will question me, Mom, why are you crying about stuff that happened 20, 30 years ago?
We
So for
have to
me,
live in the now, right? We can't do anything about the past, and we can't have anxiety about the future, because that'll mess us up too. We have
yeah,
to learn to live in the now and be grateful for the right now and appreciate that now moment in that present time. Like, that's what I had to learn to do, was to live in the now. Didn't even, and like you said, I was brainwashed too. That's why I created Transparent Table Talk. One, because Bougiewild was given to me from the universe. I was criticized for just evolving into the person that I've become. I'm a teenage mom, a high school dropout, had two children by the time I was 17, and God has been good to me. I've been able to um, become the best version of myself through learning and going back to school. And I did 20 years working for the IRS, but I did too dealt with the conditioning and wasn't even
mhm,
aware that I was mimicking the conditioning. And,
yes,
and when I had that moment as well, like you said, it was a breakdown moment. It was like oh my God, how did I get here? And it was like I had a revelation, and God showed me in where I could see all of those behavior patterns and those practices and just the way of thinking that I dealt with.
yeah,
And like you said, I had to heal from all of the things that I held as, unforgiving.
yeah,
Unforgiving. That's pretty much what, like you said, and they're like open wounds. They're
mm,
open wounds,
yes,
and it burns and it hurts when
yes,
the triggers happen. The
yeah,
triggers, and then you go out like you said, and you be in these unhealthy relationships. You want to blame somebody for really what you're feeling internally. Because since I've healed, like if something come, I could go in a meditative state. I don't deal with no bullshit, none.
Yeah, yeah,
Life is beautiful. Life
yes.
is
So
beautiful. I go in.
forgiveness
I
starts with yourself.
I cry, and
Yeah,
just before I get mad, I sit there and just cry
yeah,
like the brain and let it wash on off and go on with my day. That's just
yeah,
the choice. I live intentional now, and like I said, transparent table talk is really bringing a lot of people, you guys, a lot. The conversation is the same. We're waking up from the condition, and we're realizing that sin that we were born into that had us suffering. Like you said, we were born into sin, and those are the things that was conditioned in us that had nothing to do with us. And then we be adults suffering with this stuff, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody is helping us identify that a lot of the behaviors and mindset and practices and just way of thinking and our outlook, and it's because of how we were conditioned. And
hmm,
then we don't have a place, even when you're that person to say, you know what, I realize this now, I want to talk about it, it's a
yeah,
problem. And when you say I'm going to change it, oh, you think you're this, it's a whole shift in um pulling back the layers of the hurt, and then having
yes,
to deal with the other people in the family to even.
yeah. And so forgiveness actually starts with yourself,
Yeah.
right? And so when I
Mhm.
started asking this, oh, how do I forgive? How do I forgive? I don't want to hold on to this resentment.
Right.
So just repeating that
Mhm.
word, I want to forgive, it becomes an habit. You don't
Right.
realize it. The language that you use is so important, right? If
Words
I
got
say
power.
I don't want to be angry, we're focusing on the word angry, even though we're saying I don't want to be angry, right? So in the
Right.
same way, if I say I want to, so instead of saying I don't want to be angry or I don't want to be resentful, I can say I want to forgive, I want to be loving, I want to be calm, I want to be happy, I want to have peace inside of me, I want to enjoy this life that I have. I have two beautiful children, I'm living here in US. What else do I want, right? so
Mhm.
so just that, and so just repeating that first. What is it that I want? I want to be happy, so I don't care. Okay, what happened. I was a kid. Even if I was a grown up, I've done stuff. I wish I could apologize. People did stuff to me, and to be honest, I've actually forgiven them. I've forgiven a lot of people in my heart, and not just in my heart. I've actually started mending relationships.
Mhm.
Reason is, when you forgive people, it's not that you're going back to square one. Sometimes people feel that, especially if you're, say it was somebody, a friend, a best friend, or a relative, say a sister or a brother, who hurt you, and now
Mhm.
you're trying to mend your relationship with them. Even toxic parents, I know a lot of children who don't meet their toxic parents anymore,
Right.
right? When you forgive them, what it's doing is it's opening a door for you to mend your relationship, but it doesn't mean that you're allowing them into your life, right? I was able to meet with a few people in my life who hurt me, and they apologized from me, and I was like, it's okay. And then I apologized to them, and they were like, why are you apologizing? I'm like, because in a relationship, when there's a rift, it's both people, you know probably I must have done something or said something to trigger it, right? Even if I did not, there's no harm in me saying I'm sorry, right? And then when that happened, and then these people, they tried to kind of now become too good of friends, and try to get into my life. And then that's where I had to set a boundary. I was like, no. Okay, I just said sorry to you, I've forgiven you. uh I've mended my relationship, but it stays here, that's it. Because if we let that come into our life today, what will happen? It will destroy our present. It will destroy what we've created. So the past, if I bring it into my present, it will destroy it, because it's there is no way that we can live in the present with the people or with the triggers or with the in the surrounding that reminds us of our traumas. We have to create something outside of it. That's so important. And once you do that, forgive, and that's when we say, remember when we say forgive and move on, what does that mean? We're moving on. We're not staying there. And when you move on, it doesn't mean that you're bringing those people along with you. Because if you're bringing those people along with you, then you're carrying that trauma with you. You're carrying that toxicity with you. Yeah. One
So we on transparent table talk. If you could talk to the younger version of you, or that individual who is dealing with what you've been through, what conversation would you felt like you would have wanted to be able to have with someone from a humble, transparent, in a vulnerable place?
If you're in a vulnerable place, the first thing is you need to get away. If you're in a toxic environment, okay, sometimes you're not able to get away. Say you're living in your parents' house, you're young, or say you're married and you're living with a partner who's toxic, right? So then you have to create a space around you, a safe space, which is your space. And then you have to tell yourself, ask yourself, what is it that you want? I want to be happy. I want peace. And so those should be your words, like whatever comes up for you. I don't want to argue. This person, he keeps arguing with me, and so I wish I could block him. Okay, so you decide that, okay, you're mindful of the fact that you want to ignore this person because he's just too toxic, and you fighting back means you're burning your energy. That's all you're doing, right? And so I will not respond. Okay, I'm in this space, this is my self-care space, and every time it starts happening, move away, move in your space. Number one thing. Number two thing, uh, this I would say, because I've seen clients like that, this I would say to those people who do not have good relationships with their parents, uh, who maybe suffered or experienced some kind of a neglect or abuse, parental abuse in some form, and today they do not meet their parents, right? And their parents are, say, in their 60s, in their 70s, in their 80s, or whatever, sometimes single. And I know, because being a coach, I've had people come to me and tell me that my kids don't talk to me, and I know, I'm sorry, I realize what I did was wrong. I was too selfish, I was a narcissist, or whatever. They know it, but now that they're lonely, now that they're alone, now that their children are not meeting them, now that they're in their time where they're not as productive as they were when they were young, now they're missing those kids. So to those kids, I would say, if you have a parent who is apologizing, who realizes uh, that they've made mistakes, forgive them. And I'm not saying, like, because I don't want to give like a general statement to everybody, because every relationship is different, right? Some parents could be very toxic, right? So if they're very toxic and you can't let them in, just maybe once a while a phone call is enough. Just once in a while, a Christmas or an Easter, a card, just a call, just going and visiting them is enough. That's all they want, right? So because when we're young, we make a lot of mistakes, and what will happen? These kids, these people who are in the 30s, 40s, and they're not speaking to their parents, and they're not speaking to them because their parents did bad to them, and now they're taking good care of their kids, right? But when they will be old, in their 60s or 70s, even though they may have a good relationship with their kids, but that's when they will realize what their parents went through. And that's when they will regret the fact that they never forgave their parents. Right? Our ego, it comes in the way. Ego is very strong and ego is very bad. It takes away our humanity, our humanness, the fact that we're all flawed, the fact that none of us is perfect, and the fact that some people have the opportunity to improve and to become better or get therapy or get the resources to mend their things, and other people don't. And we today actually live in a world where we have a lot of resources, especially with internet. Our parents' times, they didn't, right? Nobody was there to tell them. Was there to teach them. There was nothing. There was no internet, no YouTube, no Google that where you could go and find somebody. Just listen to a YouTube video of somebody giving you a pep talk, right? Like, these are all free resources that we have access to, and they didn't. I'm sure my mother never got any kind of help for after the three miscarriages that she had. My mother had adopted a boy, and I'm sure when he was taken away after I was born, my mother never had got any kind of support or any kind of anybody telling her what to do and how to deal with that anxiety and that depression, right? And so what was she doing? You see, there are two kinds of people. One is those that when they get traumatized, they withdraw, they go in their cocoon, you know and then there are some people who fight back. And most of the men are like that. Men would, and that's why we see aggressive men as bad people. Why? Because that's the only way they know to express their anxiety, because they can't be weak, because they can't cry, because they can't complain, right? And so my mother being that very strong woman, and me being that strong woman, like we are not that those people who would go in our cocoon and just cry and go like, oh, and submit, right? My mother was not like that. My mother was a fighter, and I am a fighter too. She was a survivor. She survived a lot of things in her life, right? And she didn't know any better, and she didn't even realize that whatever she was going through was affecting us. She didn't realize it. She didn't even know, because we were just living, and we were just seeing her stressed out, her angry, her frustrated. She was working, she was struggling with her emotions. uh, there were things she was doing, and because she was not a weak woman, she wouldn't cry. And
But
what do
thank you so much for sharing that. And, that's what Transparent Table Talk is for us to come and talk about those different topics, our own personal topics that could help the next person. And just to do a recap, we've all experienced that. We've all experienced being angry at our parents. We've all experienced walking around with that hurt that actually caused us to hurt ourselves. And in order to live a fulfilled life, we do have to forgive. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on Transparent Table Talk and sharing your story from a humble, transparent, and a vulnerable place. Because the purpose is to heal the world. The purpose is to show people that we all go through the same thing. And when I say you were speaking into my own life, because I do have a son that's mad at me, the one I had at 15. So I just want to thank you again for coming on Transparent Table Talk, sharing that information, because there are people out there that's dealing with holding anger, frustration, irritation, aggravation, and frustration, and just need to hear that you are not alone. So thank you again, and you have a great
In
evening.
fact, if anybody wants to reach out, they can reach out to me. I am a trauma coach, and I do sessions on Zoom. And if you're in California, we could meet up as well. You just shared my website, healwithhina.com. So I work with traumas, PTSD, betrayal trauma. And so yeah, and I am more than happy to help you. I actually do a free catharsis session as well, right? And if you would want, I can share that information with you at some point
You
too. So
sure
if
can.
anybody just wants to vent, they just want to take it all out and want to talk to me.
But
Find
you can email us that information, and we'll put it out
Yes,
on our
thank you so
platform. And I thank you so
much.
much for sharing that story with us and your coaching um, offer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we
Told you crazy, told you crazy.
I'm free to be me, it's what you see in my energy. I'm real with myself, I don't conform to society. I'm free to be me, it's the only way for me to stay true to my identity. I'm free to be me, I'm a person of integrity, something that's not recognized in society. I'm free to be me, it's the only way for me. It's the key to my serenity. You form the social norm. I'm doing me. I'm working to become the best. Bougiewild, 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 bougiewild. I said the universe gave it to me.